Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
And my name is James. And this is where we talk about all things Star Wars.
Oh, you got bleeped. The internet
Oh,
bleeped you. That
really?
was wild. Yeah.
What did I say? I didn't say anything. Are you being serious?
Yeah. It was like a beep. You'll hear it in
Oh,
the broadcast.
interesting.
But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
May the fourth be
The
with you.
official, unofficial Star Wars day.
I'm gonna say it's the official Star Wars day because the only reason I'm saying it is because Lucasfilm is taking full advantage of May the 4th. Like it's not full advantage, but they're making it a big deal. I mean, I was at the park today. I went to Disneyland Park, but we'll get into that. Don't we have stuff to say before we start our podcast? Because I always jump into it, and you always like stop everything I'm saying so you can thank our patrons. That's what we need to do first.
Yeah, we halt and catch fire. So, yes, we do want to thank our awesome patrons, our
Yes.
supporters, everyone that contributes to the podcast here. Um, on this May the 4th, we do want to recognize some truly awesome people, awesome
Yes.
support. On the purple tier, we have Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Sean Greathouse, Zach Netzel, and Mariana Atia Arnold. On the red tier, we have Fenrir526, Maya Morris. And on the black tier, we have Maka Tawatala, Nathan Shank, Evan Opaker, Liam McCallion, and Texas Vader 76.
Best name ever.
Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and commenting, liking, subscribing, kind of keeping us going, giving us encouragement, all the messages. And I'm going to do mail outs pretty soon of all of our kind of merch or swag that we gave away in London. So if you guys want that, I'll be contacting everyone on Patreon individually, and I'll message you and make sure that your address is correct, or if you want to send it to a different spot. And I'm probably going to throw in some extra stuff in there as well. So thank you for all the love and support. We know a lot of people will probably jump on in this live stream. We've been doing most of our podcasts as live streams on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So people will jump in and comment. It's awesome. Martin Luce, may the 4th be with you guys. Let's go Star Wars Day. I'm at work, but I can't wait to get off and watch episode 4. Awesome. That's a great
Nice.
choice.
That is an awesome choice.
I haven't watched episode 4 in a long, long time.
That's interesting because I don't think I've watched episode 4 in a long time either. I've watched the sequel trilogy sooner than I have the original trilogy. And I haven't seen here's the really weird this is okay, we're gonna have this discussion. Here's the really weird thing. I haven't seen episode 2 and episode 3 in a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's really weird that I haven't dove into that in a long
You
time.
almost said Divin.
Divin. Yeah, you see, I was trying to find the word to say. But yeah, I haven't seen those 2 and 3 in a very long time.
Yeah.
And but the funny thing is like I know every single scene in that movie. You know what I mean? I know every single moment. And it's like in my head, I'm watching the movie throughout the day. I'm like, okay, this happens, this happens. But yeah, why is that? Why do you think some of us go a long time? Like as huge Star Wars fans, we do not watch the movies as often as we should be watching the movies.
Right. I think there are some reasonings, some logical reasonings for that. It is May 4th, 2023. And in this current date, we have so much Star Wars content that we can dive into. We have the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy. We have all the animation, Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, 2 seasons of that. We have the video games. Jedi Survivor just came out. You spent a lot of time on that, playing
I
that
did.
game, and you beat it. And so
Yes,
did
yes, I did.
Josh. Josh beat the game too, and he was telling us over text about how quick he beat it and all the Easter eggs and stuff he got.
I don't believe
And
that for one thing. I
so
don't
yeah,
believe
I mean, if when you're a Star Wars fan, there's a lot of content you can consume, and there's more choices. I'm 41 years old. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. There wasn't as many choices per se. I grew up with the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. There was Super Star Wars. It's a very hard game to play. I'd go to Hastings, which is a local place in these small towns in Texas and maybe in the South. They're all shut down now due to Amazon. Sad, but
Jerks.
yeah, I'd rent the game there, and of course, we'd all get frustrated because we couldn't get very far. I was a little kid, and I couldn't get past, I think, getting off Tatooine. But it was by like all those creatures. You're like fighting scorpions and doing kind of obscure things that Luke Skywalker would normally do. But yeah, there's so much selection and so many different things. And you got Galaxy's Edge. You were there. Colin was there. Ben was there. Josh was there. Star was there. I mean, you guys practically have Star Wars as a backyard. So you guys can experience that. And then we have podcasting. We talk about Star Wars all the time. And for us especially, I mean, it's really, really hard to get into things. Vision season 2 dropped today for May 4th. I haven't watched a single episode yet. I've seen people talk about the episodes, and I know Late to the Party's reacted to 2 of the episodes. And I was about to watch, but my daughter came home from school and she's like, I need to practice dance. And so I left and I came up here and I was like, let's podcast, James. So here we are. So
yeah.
your adventure today on Batuu
Yes.
West. How was that?
Batuu West. Well, my adventure started early because I got to the park and I went over to Tomorrowland and I rode Star Tours right away. I was like, it was a 5-minute wait. I was like, I'm doing Star Tours. So I jumped in line at Star Tours, did it. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun. And then after that, at Disneyland, at least, Space Mountain is right there next to Star Tours, and they have done it as Hyperspace Mountain, which is the old show is
They should
gone
just keep
now.
it as that, right?
They should just keep it as that, yeah. Because in case you don't know, Hyperspace Mountain is Star Wars. It's a Star Wars themed ride. It's Space Mountain, but now it's Star Wars. So when the ride starts, the main theme begins. The opening fanfare begins, and it's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then the ride starts, and you just hear the Star Wars music playing. You see TIE fighters flying around, and it's so cool, and it's the best. And so yeah, I did that, and then I bought me a cup, which was really expensive, but I was really glad I got this cup. And then you go on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, you'll see it there. And then what else did I do? Oh, and then then I went to Batuu, and then I got me some food, and then I just kind of just chilled. I just kind of just looked around and just took it, took it all in, and just so many people were dressed up. I saw so many different are you gonna show my picture? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, I got this cup right here, and it's so cool. It was a really cool cup. I was so happy.
Yeah, it looks super dope. Season 2.
Season 2, yeah. And then you can't see it, but Bo-Katan's like on the other side flying.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
It was awesome. And the new Cal Kestis lightsaber just came out today, and it was bizarre because I got to the park right at 8:30 when the rope drops. Not when rope drops, but like when they let you go onto the rides, really. And as I was getting in, there were already people leaving with the Cal Kestis lightsaber. So these people must have just ran straight to the back, bought this thing and left. And I saw so many people walking around with these boxes for the Cal Kestis lightsaber. You know how much that lightsaber was?
How much?
It was $400.
Wow.
Yeah, it's $400 for the Cal Kestis
Wow.
lightsaber. I mean, it's cool because it's I think it's double edged. You can do the double edge
Yeah.
hilt, for it, just like in the game. But I don't think you could take it apart. If you could take it apart, I'm spending $400 on this thing. But the line to Doc Ondar's to get that lightsaber was long. Like the line was there the whole time I was there. And it was just fun. I had a great time. I just looked at the Millennium Falcon, just stared at it and all its intricate detail. And it's a beautiful ship. And then, like I said, just seeing people walking around in their costumes. I saw so many Jedi robes. I saw so many Rays walking around, young and old. I was like, wow. Like I saw some older. I don't want to be a jerk or anything, but just some older people
It's gonna be us
Hispanic, like
soon, James.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be us soon. But what was really interesting was it was Hispanic people like you and I, older
Nice.
Hispanic women dressed as Rey, walk around with lightsabers. I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then I
Yeah,
saw young kids dressed as Rey, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
if
Yeah.
people don't know, the name and the word Rey is spelt in Spanish, Rey,
Hmm.
which actually means king in
Yes,
Spanish.
yes.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe we have come to the conclusion, or somebody has said it, and we kind of repeated it, that that's why they changed her name from Kira to Rey, was because it translated better in Spanish. I believe that was something somebody had said.
Is that the reasoning? Wow.
I
That makes
mean,
sense.
that's what I've heard. But anyways, and it was fun. It was a great day. I it was, and then I came home and I relaxed because I got up really early to go to the park, and I watched the first episode of Visions today, and it was pretty cool. It was really great.
Nice. Nice.
And so yeah, it was a nice fun Star Wars day for me. And Colin, if you go on his Instagram, he did everything. It looks like he's been going there every day this week, which is why he hasn't beaten Jedi Survivor yet, because I think he's
Yeah.
been at the
Yeah.
park this entire time.
Yeah. Let's see
And
if we can find it.
see if you can find
There it
there he
is.
is. Yeah. He went that's just today, but he's
Yeah.
been posting stuff from all throughout the week. And yeah, it's cool. It was a great day.
Yeah. 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 I just want to say hi to Maka right here on YouTube.
Waka.
Happy May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day, Maka. So yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's so much stuff to do now. I think of the generations that are coming up and think about how lucky they are, because I think
Right?
of that huge span of time where there was almost next to hardly anything to consume that was Star Wars. There were some novels here and there. There was a Timothy Zahn
Yeah.
trilogy introducing Thrawn. There were some video games, and then we got the prequels. And then after 2005, I was super sad because I thought that was it.
Yeah.
I
I thought yeah, it's really unfair to these young kids coming up now, because or to, I mean, it's not fair because they get to get introduced to Star Wars, and if their
yeah.
parents are raising them right, they're gonna start them with the original trilogy, and then do the prequels, and then do the they get to see all 9 movies pretty much right away, and it's like, man. I mean, for a few years there, I was watching 4, 5, and 6 over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and that's all I had. And mind you, it wasn't, when I'm a kid, that seems like the longest time, but it was probably like 3 years where I was like deep into longer than that. And then when the prequels came out, it was like, oh my gosh, more Star Wars, you know. Uh, but yeah, the kids today can just watch everything, and now they got all the Clone Wars and they got all Rebels. It's like you can in the span of a month, you can become the most hardcore Star Wars fan because all the content is already available for you to watch right away. And a lot of people have done that. A lot of people who I know, who I've known for over the years, who don't like Star Wars, just get into it, and then they are in. They are like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, Ahsoka's my favorite character." And I'm like, "You know who Ahsoka is?" And they're like, "Yeah, because she's in the Clone Wars. She's in this." And it's like, wow, it's really really cool. What's up, General Kenobi? Hello there. Um, Happy May 4th. Yeah, and you posted a meme today, and it's the Andor. I've been in this, suddenly Star Wars Day is special to you. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. And for some of us, that's the way it is, man. Are you gonna
Yeah.
find it too?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna find that. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't know, I'm on our Star Wars Facebook group for the podcast here, and this is where we post memes and news and stuff. Maybe I passed it.
I think you
I don't
passed it.
know. We posted a lot of stuff today. So yeah, if you want to make some Beskar, that's how you do it. I don't advise it, but that's how you do it.
Yes.
Um,
Where
it's
is it?
somewhere in here.
Oh, there I am. Man, I think it's gone. Oh yeah, Danny Trejo
There it
wishing
is.
there it is. Yeah, when people who made fun of you for liking Star Wars start celebrating May the 4th, and it's like suddenly Star Wars is real for you. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. And it's funny because, like I said, a
Yeah.
lot of people who I didn't even know like Star Wars are like in it now, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's so easy to get it with the advent of Disney Plus too in 2019.
yes,
And you just go to a tile and you have all Star Wars.
and
It's all
it's
there.
it's crazy because there was a moment, I was before I was born, but there was a moment where you couldn't watch Star Wars at home. Star Wars wasn't available for home movie purchase, and you could
Right.
only watch it on the TV whenever they would show it, and it was a huge deal whenever they'd
Yeah.
say, "This weekend showing Star Wars,"
Yeah.
and it was huge. And now look at that. You just go on Disney Plus, click your Star Wars tile, and there are all the movies. And you just click one and you can start watching. And it's incredible. And I love it.
Lucky kids, that's all I got to say.
Lucky kids, man.
Lucky
Because
kids.
but then again, I'm really glad that wasn't around because I can appreciate it more, Star
Yeah.
Wars, but because now I'd probably be all like, oh yeah, it's just Star Wars, but no, like it's really cool to have been there to see it, to see the prequels and the sequel trilogy all come out.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'd watch the films and then I would play Star Wars. I would use my imagination. I would create new characters and new situations,
Yep.
and I would play Star Wars afterwards. Because
Yeah.
there's no internet, there's no smartphones. I had my cousins to play with, and they wanted to play Star Wars too, so that worked out. Um, so yeah, I mean, there wasn't all this content to consume, and man, it almost seems like it could be overwhelming in a way. And we've gotten those questions where people will ask, okay, so I'm going to get into Star Wars. Where do I start? And I think you pretty much
Yeah.
answered it, James. You start with the original trilogy, you work your way to the prequels, and then I guess the sequels. Um, or maybe you could do the OT, then the sequels, and then the prequels. Then
That's
there's
an
that machete order.
yeah, the machete order is what is it? The machete order is 4, 5, 2, and then some of them even say 4, 5, then 1, 2, and 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 4 and 5, 5 you get the I am your father, and then you go back to the prequels to see what led up to that moment, and then 6 you finish it, and then 7, 8, and 9 finish the whole story as it is. But I've heard some versions where they don't even include episode 1. They say skip episode 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and which I don't know. And then when they asked George Lucas what's the best order to watch them, his response was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Man, at the time there
Mm,
was only 6 of them. He said you watch them in episodic order. That's the way they should be watched. So the maker thing is saying you need to watch them in order. But I feel like you have to watch them the way they were released to fully appreciate it, to fully appreciate the story that's being
right.
told. And and it's weird to say that because I know some people get confused, but that's the best way to watch it is the way it was released because you appreciate the storytelling a lot more, in my opinion.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you Google it, you get a result in 0.39 seconds for the machete order. So it's episode 4, episode 5, episode 2, episode 3, episode 6, and then it's 7, 8, 9.
Hmm.
That's the new updated order.
And it does make sense to do 4, 5, and then to go back and then watch it all come up, to the conclusion.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but for me, I tell people you just do 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9. And I've even told some people like try doing it, and somebody I know he did it in episodic. He did 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, and he loved it. He was like, oh, it's really cool to see the whole story unfold, and how it. I was like, oh, interesting. And he's the same guy who told me that Attack of the Clones was his favorite of the Star Wars movies. And I was like, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." He goes, "I thought that was a really entertaining movie." And I said, okay." Like
Yeah.
it's not my favorite, but I will still watch it. Late to the Party is on our stream. Thank you for watching us. Late to the Party says you lose all the surprises by watching the prequels first. Where's the fun in that? OT first, always. Yeah. Um, but yeah, whoever asked me though, like I said, I only told one person to do it and I felt bad afterward. But everyone who does ask me, I always say you do 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9. And for some odd reason, that confuses people. Like people just can't comprehend that. But then, when Captain America came out, everybody was like, "Oh yeah," and they just watched it, and it was like, "That's a prequel." But how come that doesn't confuse you? But Star Wars, what? What do you mean? I'm so confused by this, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see how it could be confusing, but I think the more you get in it, it's easily understandable on
Mhm.
what is actually going on. And of course, you have the internet to help you. I mean, yes, internet questions, and you'll usually get answers, especially on Star Wars. And then you got us. You got our podcast too. You can reference. You can always email us at
Yes.
starstuffpodcast@gmail.com, and we will answer as soon as possible. So General Kenobi says that's funny. Someone literally asked me that today.
And let me just ask this really funny question. Don't you get excited when a friend of yours asks you, "How do I watch Star Wars?" You just kind of get like, "Oh, we're doing
Immediately
this."
sweaty.
Like, oh, this is you're taking the
Charlie Day.
dive. And what was that?
Charlie Day.
Oh yeah, Pepe Sylvia. That was me back in the day. Whenever anybody would ask me a question about Star Wars, I'd always look at them
Yeah.
and say, "Okay, do you really want to get into this right now? Because we need about 3 hours for me to explain this entire thing to you." But no, I always get excited when somebody's like, "Okay, how do I watch Star Wars?" I'm like, "Yes, okay, this is what you do," and then to see how they like it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got a report right now. Billy Lord and Mark Hamill honor our princess Carrie Fisher on Hollywood
Yeah.
today at Hollywood. She got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and looked like it was a pretty big event. Like I said, Billy Lord was there, Mark Hamill was there to see it, and that's really cool. I'm gonna have to drive up there sometime soon and take a picture of the star because I don't know. I'm kind of against Hollywood, the Walk of Fame, because it's literally just a sidewalk. It's nothing like grand, but it is Carrie Fisher, and I feel like I need to
Yeah, I
go.
mean, you kind of figure that you have all these stars and you got to have a little bit of room, a little space for future stars to be
Mhm.
set. And we talked about a little bit on the previous podcast how you have to be invited first of all, and then the actual celebrity, actor, singer, artist has to agree to it, but they also have to pay for the star to be created and then set in the sidewalk. And I'm on the website right now, bring it up on the screen. And it's very interesting. So yeah, here we have Carrie Fisher. Click on her. And it already happened today. And here's actually the video of it. And it's on YouTube. You can actually watch the entire ceremony. I
Dreams
guess
may
we'll
be on
play a
life
little bit
support.
of it here. Hopefully, we don't get taken down.
I think we're gonna get taken down.
So, yeah, you can see there Mark Hamill was there along with 3PO, R2. I'm wondering if Chris Bartlett is in that suit.
Hmm.
He was on the podcast,
Yeah.
I think, during Obi-Wan. And yeah, he's essentially part of the Favaloni circle for playing droids. And I got to take a picture with them in 2022 in Anaheim at Celebration. So yeah, you can watch this on walkoffame.com. And I watched a little bit of it. Mark Hamill's speech was pretty good. And you can see that picture there to the side. And of course, Billy Lord also spoke. And she wore a
She wore an
really cool
amazing dress.
dress. Yeah, right there.
Ugh,
Her mom, I think, younger than her at this point.
yes.
And yeah, there's the red carpet with the star that they lift. And there's the plaque that they give out to everyone.
Mm.
And it's cool that Billy Lord did this, and they got to honor Carrie Fisher, and she has a star on the Walk of Fame. And you can see the icon in the middle there. It's for film. That's the icon for film.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
And
to make my way up there pretty soon, and so I get a
yeah.
picture of the star. Did you? Okay, I know this is not related. This is gossip, but did you hear about the controversy? Like, Billy Lord didn't invite her aunts and her uncle to this.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's great. That's I'm proud of her for like being like, not who am I to say I'm proud of her, but like it's
Yeah.
cool that she was like, hey, no, like you know what y'all did, you're not,
Yeah.
and because they made it public, she made it public. Why she
Yeah.
did not invite them, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's good for her for doing that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate in these situations when people pass away, especially celebrities, and then family members capitalize on a death, which is kind of in bad taste.
Mm,
Unless they got the blessing of Billy Lord. But according to Billy Lord, she hasn't been in contact with any of Carrie Fisher's siblings. So they were like, "Well, can we attend the ceremony?" And she was like, "No." Um, she didn't invite them, and I think she said that if they show up, she's leaving. So, yeah, that's an unfortunate situation, but I mean that kind of thing happens, and it's
mhm.
unfortunate. But um, I think you said it best, James. Billy Lord kind of stood up to um, and did the right thing.
Yeah.
I think she absolutely did the right thing, and
And I still remember her at the 2017 40th panel when she came out in all white, which was awesome. And she gave that amazing speech about her mother. And then she said, "There's a three things my mother taught me three things that every mother should teach their daughter." And then she said, "General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in Clone Wars." And I was like, "Oh, it was
was
like."
flawless.
I mean, and then she ended it. "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." And everybody cheered. It was cool. And then there was a really great picture of it was Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and her. And it was like, wow, that's just it's sad. It
Yeah,
was really sad. And watching Return of the Jedi and seeing, young, Carrie Fisher, and it was like, man, she was only like 24, 25 whenever they did Return of the Jedi. She was so young. Because she was
yeah,
only 18 or 19 when they did A New Hope.
yep.
So, yeah, I was like, I can't. When you're a kid watching those movies, they all look older. But then now that I'm older, I'm like, man, they were all younger than I am now when they did that movie. And it's just bizarre to think about.
Yeah, when I think about that type of thing, I'm like, man, I feel so unaccomplished. I'm like twice more than twice that age, and it's like, what have I done?
Yeah, hey, you have a podcast right now.
Yeah, I got a podcast
Yeah, so
in your face.
yeah, take that. I'm just kidding, but yeah, like I said, it was really cool. It was a little emotional seeing Princess Leia like that, and young. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my gosh, because I hadn't seen Return of the Jedi in a while, and it just made me really sad. And yeah,
Yeah.
there's a great video that's been going around. I think it was on the Star Wars TikTok page,
Mhm.
where it was Mark Hamill explaining the stunt of him going into the Rancor pit, and Carrie Fisher's next to him in her slave outfit, and he's like, I have to go in there, but I have to quickly move out of the way before the guard lands on me and he looks around and goes, because he's 200 pounds. And Carrie Fisher says that he's played by me. And it was really funny. And then they're trying to
That's
figure out a
funny.
line, and then Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill say it, and then she's like, "Do I say it?" And they're like, "No." It's like, I don't know. It looked like they had so much fun making those movies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the hangouts. I mean, what I would give to hang out with them, the big three when they were
Mm.
young,
The OG.
19, 19, and 33. Yeah, yeah,
And it's weird once you hear about the affair that Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford had, and it's like it's kind of it has a weird thing now when you watch that movie, and you see the behind the scenes pictures of how Carrie Fisher looked at Harrison Ford. You're like, that's kind of sad, but that's just the way it is.
yeah. I always thought that scene was kind of odd. Carrie Fisher's reaction when they were getting off the Falcon at Cloud City. You can see her like I think she was like hungover or something. She has like a really big smile,
Yeah,
like she's overreacting to the situation. And I always looked at that. I was like, why is she smiling so big?
great
But
story.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
we
They
found
hung out
out
with the
later.
Rolling Stones the night before, I believe, right?
Yeah,
It's like, wow. I
that
mean,
was
you're on the call sheet the next day for Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, the sequel to the most successful movie of all time. But you have the opportunity to hang out with the Rolling Stones in what, 1980 or 1979?
1979. Yeah, you hang out with the
So
Rolling Stones, and they did. Apparently, all three of them went, and they all hung out with, or maybe it was just I don't know, but they all went to hang out with the Rolling Stones, and they partied. So that must
yeah,
have been a lot of fun.
yeah, it
but
must have been a ton of fun.
but yeah, so that ceremony happened today with Carrie Fisher. Appropriate that it was May the 4th. So
Yeah, very, very fitting. Very fitting.
and before we go on, okay, so Mark Hamill is in that video. He did the Cal Kestis Jedi Survivor video.
Yes, that was awesome.
Okay, this guy looks in better shape than he was when they did the sequel trilogy. What is going on with Mark Hamill right now? Because it looks like he's getting ready for something. I'm probably reaching, but it looks like he is in shape for for something. And I'm kind of wondering, is he got to show up somewhere soon in Star Wars? Because like I said, he looks incredible right now. So
Yep, he sure does. He absolutely does. I noticed that too. He seemed like he slimmed down, and he actually slimmed down a lot. Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill for The Force Awakens, they were essentially told, get into better shape. You're gonna star, essentially co-star in a new Star Wars film. So I think that was all the motivation they needed. I think Mark Hamill dropped like 50 pounds.
yeah, he was a little chunky there. I saw a few
Yeah.
pictures of him, and but the story goes is that George Lucas met with them and told them, hey, so they're gonna do more Star Wars movies, and y'all need to get in shape to be in those movies. And I love there's a great interview with Carrie Fisher
Yeah.
where they asked, so you lost weight? She said, yes, I did it. It's a dumb topic. It's like that's and she shut down, all the questions about her losing weight. I was like, that's
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she talks about the casting of the original Star Wars. And she said, and she wasn't like a big girl or anything, but she said they sent her to a fat farm. And she
In Austin,
said,
Texas.
in Austin, Texas.
It was in Austin. It
And
was in Austin, Texas. Yeah.
and she tells the story of they wanted her to lose 20 pounds, but when she came back, they were a little disappointed because she said something along the lines of, they wanted me to lose 10 pounds here on this side of my face and then 10 pounds here, because she had kind of a full face. So I thought that was hilarious. And Carrie had such a great, wicked sense of humor.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she was a
She was
tremendous writer, tremendous ghost writer. She's
yes.
uncredited on many projects. And yeah, I mean, she was just totally awesome. And I'm glad we're talking about her. I mean, we got to keep her memory alive. I mean, she is
Yep.
going to live forever as Princess Leia, as General Leia. But yeah,
For all
people
time.
just have no idea. Yeah.
Like we're gonna be gone. But
No one's going to remember the Star Wars Stuff
remember the
podcast.
stars. No one's gonna remember the stars of podcast. But like generations from now, we'll always remember and know who Princess Leia is, and it's just it's crazy to think about. And just saying the
Yeah.
name is like it's just like you automatically know who that is when you hear a Princess Leia. Like boom, know who that is. And yeah, it was her every interview with her was just she was just relentless. And what's so funny about some of those interviews, you hear the crew laughing
Yeah.
hysterically in the background because she was just like boom, 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 just joke after joke after like the one she tells about how she said, she was her mother was worried. She's like, my mother was worried I was doing too much LSD. As mothers should be worried, as a mother should be worried. And so what does she do? She talks to I forget what the actor, Cary Grant or something like that, or somebody to like talk to me about my LSD use, and then don't talk to my dad because he was shooting whatever for the past couple of years every day, and it was with his doctor, and I forget who she was with. It was some, it was like Conan or I don't know, and they were just laughing hysterically because of how well she was telling the story, and that was interesting
Yeah.
about Carrie Fisher was she never hid away from her struggles.
Mhm.
Like she made it known what was happening with her, and yeah, she was incredible.
Yeah, that's what really kind of endeared her to audiences, fans, Star Wars fans, is just the truth that you gave. And I actually just saw a video about kind of dissecting Pedro Pascal's popularity. And the big thing that you kind of come away with it is he is very, very like down to earth, and he doesn't. He basically tells the truth. He's very relatable,
Mm.
and that really endears him, I think, to all of the fans that he has now. He's the biggest star on the planet now. I mean, who's bigger? We talked last podcast. We talked about him going to the Met Gala. Bradley Cooper walks out in front of him. Hardly anyone says anything. Pedro walks out,
Everybody.
screams, cheers, pictures being taken. He posed. So yeah, it's an incredible thing, and he's going to do a second season of The Last of Us, which means we might not see his face in the next season of The Mandalorian.
That's to be expected.
But I mean, is that Filoni movie going to come out? We still really don't have confirmation on that
Mm.
real world timeline of what they're shooting next and what's happening. Hopefully, we do get some confirmation here pretty soon.
If anything, we'll get confirmation toward the end of the year, because if any movie is coming out in 2025, the production principal photography would begin. Pre-production would probably begin like around August, and then production would begin around January, and or even probably earlier than that. But
Yeah.
so that movie, once whatever this movie is goes into production, they're going to release something about it. And here's my question. All right, are they got to go the mystery box route that J.J. Abrams did with his movies, or are they got to just handle it like any other movie and just, you know, post stuff about it and be like, oh, hey, this is going on, this is happening, and this so and so, or do you think they're gonna just try to keep it a huge secret again?
I don't think they're gonna go exactly the way JJ and the production went about it for The Force Awakens, but we all know that Filoni loves keeping the secrets, and he wants. And Favreau's talked about it too before, how he doesn't want us to open Christmas presents before Christmas, and I agree. Show us little to nothing. If you want to know what happens, you can find that out on the internet.
Which is what you do.
Some of the time, yeah. Now, not so much, but I mean, it's out there. I mean, the outlets are out there. It's an incredible thing that that's even a reality. But if you know who to trust, you can get information. But it's tough to say what exactly we're gonna get as far as marketing goes. And we all remember the debacle with Solo, and we don't want to see something like that repeated. And it's a possibility when you look at all the timelines and the math and the months and the years. This thing is not going to compete with Avatar. There's no way they're going to put it up against Avatar in December. Maybe drop it in Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I would love a Black Friday where I go to the theater, see the climactic event that we were promised or talked about, and get Mandalorians, get Thrawn, get the Rebels crew, Skeleton crew, all up mixed up in it, and we get a huge movie. Hopefully, it's like really long. Hopefully, it's not a Star Wars length, which is like 2 hours. Hopefully, it's 3 hours. That would be nice.
Hopefully, it's 3.5 hours, which is awesomeness. But
yeah,
it's just if anything, that has to be a summer release. But then you don't want to get too close to whenever this episode 10 comes out before, you know. It's crazy. And one thing James Cameron did with Avatar, which is why you don't want to go against Avatar now, is because James Cameron set out to write these sequels that he's doing now. And he told them, let's do Lord of the Rings, let's do Star Wars. He says that is what our goal is with how we're going to tell these next movies coming out. We need a whole story that stretches across, and it's all connected. And with that mindset, yeah, he's gonna be kind of unstoppable with his Avatar movies. So yeah, I can't see them competing with an Avatar movie.
And I really love his mindset, James Cameron. He was asked in an interview, "Don't you think these movies are a little too long?" He said, "Look, in this day and age, people will binge watch 8 hours in a row. So don't tell me my movie is too long at 3 hours." So I love that mindset. I think for me, it was cemented with The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson. And it's tremendous. You put it on and it never gets old. It never gets boring. There's a certain way you do a film to where it's so rewatchable, and those films are so rewatchable. I
Yes.
could watch them right now and just be in the zone watching those films. And I really hope, and of course, we always say this on the podcast, if we were running Lucasfilm, each one of these Star Wars films would be super long. They would be longer than the norm. And the big question still is this Daisy Ridley New Jedi Order film going to be episode 10? It'd be episode X. Are they going to continue that? We know the Crawls are coming back. I might not ever not mention that on future podcasts. I love that fact. I really miss the fact and kind of lament the fact that we didn't get a crawl in front of Rogue One. It's sad. And we all love that movie. Rogue One's gotten better with age. It's been re-released in IMAX. And the future looks bright. The content that we've been talking about, there's so much of it out there to revisit, rewatch, for new fans to get into everything that's dropping. It's an incredible time to be a Star Wars fan. And it feels like we're gaining more fans. It feels like
Yes.
that next generation is coming up and getting into it. And we have some of those people on our podcast too.
That's pretty cool. I thank Grogu for the new fans.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to go here in a second. You can keep going here, but I saw a post about James Gunn actually posted that whenever he was thinking about doing Guardians of the Galaxy, he said, I didn't want to do Star Wars. I wanted to do something like Star Wars. I wanted to have that fun feeling of a Star Wars movie with these characters. And because that's how he said that's how much he loves Star Wars, and he's really glad. He said he was over the moon that his movie was going to be showing on May 4th, like people can watch it on May 4th. So that was his way to honor May the 4th, was by saying, "Hey, Guardians of the Galaxy was a huge inspiration, was Star Wars for me," and and I know you watched it. Don't say anything. I'm gonna watch it on
I've
Saturday.
seen it twice already.
You're a monster, but but I'm gonna have to go here, David. I really apologize. You can keep jamming. Yeah, listeners, thank you all so much for listening, and I'm gonna have to bounce here. So,
Well, my computer just froze up, James.
with-
So I
oh.
think you're gonna have to end the show.
Oh, okay. Well, Chloe Mayhew, thank you so much for joining us, but we're gonna sign off here very soon. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I hope you had a great May 4th, and go watch a Star War after you listen to us, please. And we'll talk to you later. May the Force be with you always.
This is the way.